Hi everyone, very good afternoon. Welcome to our class Super Methods CAT 2020. Uh, some changes have been done in the PPT and the way we were talking about for these couple of weeks. There's some certain things which will be new. Let's see whether they work out and whether you like them or not. And how's it? Some changes have been done in the so the aim will of this class now on at 2 p.m. will be to generate some crucial crucial points, to generate some crucial ideas which will bring some credible changes to the way we are looking at preparation. How do we want to do it? How we would like to see it's a completely new way to look at things. So what we want to talk about, we'll talk about some general thoughts, the thoughts which I would like to share, and you can also share since live chat is open now. And also you can also ask some questions, give me some feedback. Also, the time we spend is the for example, if you spend half an hour on RC and in the topic of RC, how you can do that. Then we'll read a portion of an RC, we'll discuss some issues, then we again read a portion of an RC, then we talk about how to improve, then we try and analyze the RCs, the wrong questions, the questions we generally go wrong, and then we again sort of continue solving RCs after that. So in short, it'll be you know, to and fro between the concepts, the certain thoughts, certain techniques, or some certain things which you already know, but I'm just making you aware of those thoughts, certain thoughts which have come to you, certain techniques which have come to your mind, but due to your busy schedule you could not start working on them. So I present it to you, those thoughts, and then you take them forward in your preparation, and will also solve certain questions. So my name is Anupam. Uh, I'm responsible for some 3,000 hours plus of training, and I've trained more than 3,500 students for CAT. To stay in touch, please install and download and install Unacademy app. Go to Plus, CAT, and subscribe. Of these 5 options, anything more than 12 months makes sense. Will help you after the CAT also for other management entrances, and will also help you for your interview preparation. And kind of pricing with the kind of quality it is, I think it's most amazing. Use the code Saxena Live to get 10% discount. There is no cost EMI on 6, 12, and 24 month subscription. There is a way to join our Telegram app, Telegram group. So in the below in the description, you can find you can find a lot of you can find my schedule. The schedule is changing from tomorrow. It'll be 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. But at the same time, there'll be a Telegram group description which you will click, and you can join to our Telegram group. What will happen is that you will be given you'll be given some notes basically, and those notes will be helpful for your preparation. So there are a lot of notes on grammar, a lot of notes on RC, and your verbal ability, para jumble, para summary, and odd one out. And in future, probably notes with respect to vocabulary also come in. But at this point, it'll be very, very specific to the preparation, making you really, really battle ready in shortest period of time. So, like I said, reading comprehension is a skill. Skill, it can be honed. It is not a talent. And when we read a text, so basically, what I'm trying to say that it is something where if you work on it, work over it for a couple of weeks, every day solving 2-3 RCs, then and understanding, reading them actively, making paragraph is specific notes, then your ability to solve and manage the questions will increase drastically. The entire ability will improve in a way which you cannot imagine, which you might not have ever seen. So it will improve in that way. Also, the thinking that only people from English medium background, the people from metros, or people who are from the non-technical fields, or the arts, and people who study humanities, or a particular group of people of aspirants, they can only special group of people can solve it. It is not for the general people from the from the village, or from the small towns, or from the basically the techies and engineers. They seem to be afraid, but this is a myth. It's a skill set. Nobody is born with it. Even if a person reads storybooks, and they are very good at reading, certain articles and editorials, they will not be able to they'll not be able to do it well. The only way to do it well to solve the question is to actually analyze the your options which have gone. So when we read a text superficially, it is difficult to answer questions based on the text. So it's when we say that when we read a text superficially, if you read something not with an intent to answer the questions based on it, there's a very high chance that you will not be able to answer the questions based on the text, because you're reading it just for information, like a newspaper text. You until unless you know that you will be asked questions about it, or until unless you read it with special attention, and you try and tell to yourself after reading whatever you have read, okay, for example, I've read a paragraph. What is the primary purpose of this paragraph? What is the central idea of this paragraph? What is the tone of this paragraph? What can be the title of this paragraph? What can be the okay, even if I'm reading a newspaper, and there is some there's a small excerpt from the editorial which is given in a line. Is this the appropriate excerpt, or is this title the appropriate title? Probably there can be a better title which you can give. So asking to yourself these questions is also very important. Reading actively helps. That means same thing, that when you're reading it, you should be reading it actively. You should be trying to understand what really the author is trying to say, reading in between the lines, basically. Fourth, reading with pen and paper helps. So yeah, of course, if you read something with and you're holding a pen and paper, you are holding that means you're ready to make some notes. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that if you make some 1 or 2, 3, 4 words for every paragraph, if you do that, then I think there will be there's a very high chance that it'll your you will be able to answer questions more confidently. Even if you write 4 words or 5 words per paragraph of an RC, that means you'll be writing 30 to 20 to 20 words, say for an RC, when you're making some notes and write them legibly. When you come to, and this can happen in a fraction of 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 minutes, and then when you come to your RCs, you read them, your questions, you'll find that life becomes really easy. Because what happens that the question paper setter also, the people who basically, the people who going to solve the questions, the people who frame the questions, basically they will also be reading the passage or paragraph, and based on whatever they have read, on basis of that they're going to form the questions. On the basis of that, they are going to create options, right? So it's very much possible. Second point is that, yeah, the time we spend. So please solve please solve 2-3 RCs online every day, and try and analyze the questions that you answered incorrectly. So a good quality analysis of the questions that you answer, that you are answering incorrectly, basically is very important. Reading the solution part. So if you're solving questions on Academy platform, there will be one solution given of every question. If you're solving now solve everything online, basically. So if you solve an RC online on the Unacademy app, or if you're solving it taking any other platform, then the solution part, go to it, read it. What was the answer given? What was the solution given? Do you agree with it? Do you like it? And do you think that, of course, this is the way it should have been answered, and I've really made an error? And if you have made an error, please make a note of it, and I will talk about it, how to make note of it. Let's start solving a question. So understanding where you are in the world is a basic survival skill, which is why we, like most species, come hardwired with specialized brain areas to create cognitive maps of our surroundings. So this line talks about what? Navigation. Okay, humans are unique, though, with possible exception of honeybees, is that we try to communicate this understanding of the world with others. So we try to communicate with others. So navigation, and second word is that probably humans communicate navigation. We have a long history of doing this by drawing maps. The earliest version is yet discovered was scrawled on cave walls 14,000 years ago. Human cultures have been drawing them on stone tablets, papyrus, paper, and now computer screens ever since. So the third word, sort of third or fourth word, which can define is that humans, that map making among humans is really old. It dates back to, it's a part of our culture in a way. Okay, so what do we talk about here? Navigation. Humans are making maps. for a very long time. Given such a long history of human map making, it is perhaps surprising that it is only within the last few hundred years that North has been has been consistently. So 14,000 years, and just last few years, that North has been consistently considered to be at the top. In fact, so much so, if you just summarize these three lines, North was not at top. Simple. For a very long history, until few hundred years here, North was not at top. In fact, for much of the human history, the North almost never appeared at top, according to Jerry Broughton, a map historian. North was really put at the top. At the top, the simple fact that North is where the darkness came from, he says. West is also very unlikely to be put at the top, because West is where sun disappears. They're saying that North was not at top, and what reasons they're giving? The reasons they're giving, these beliefs like North is where these superstitions which people had, they were responsible for. So this is the, if you can say, can we try and talk about the purpose of these two paragraphs? Just the purpose of these two paragraphs. The purpose of the paragraph is to talk about that navigation is important in humans. Humans have been creating maps to communicate navigation, and then the idea is that then the next point is that until few hundred years, North was never at the top, basically. And the purpose can be also that purpose will be that that humans, to let know people, to sensitize people, to make aware people that what is that for so many years people have been making maps, and it's a basic, so it's a basic survival skill, and at the same time that what are those reasons why North was never placed at the map, and there was this delay in realizing that North was at the top. So this is sort of a clearing the doubts that what people might have as a misconception. It is trying to clear those doubts. So it is in that way. Next point is that what are the other issues which we face when we are solving so we'll do this. We'll solve an RC question, and then we will ask if you have any doubts. Issues, people facing issues that they are unable to understand the RC completely, and they're unable to relate to it, and they're unable to like it, basically. So what is the this is an important problem, and please let me know if there are any other issues which you people also face here when it comes to the issues you're unable to understand whatever is written, and unable to like, or you're unable to relate it. The problem is that we have not read certain kind of things. We have not read very good quality articles in our everyday life, or we read them very rarely, or we read only what we like. We don't read the topics in areas of which we don't have any interest, right? And our interests are very narrow, so we might not like whatever is written there. We might not be able to understand the entire issue completely. whatever is given in front of us. So whatever we understand, making note of that in a few short words, and then moving forward is the way out. Okay. Next comes early. So this top comes from here. Sun disappears. So towards the Garden of Eden with Jerusalem at the center. Let's do the last line. West is also very unlikely to be put at the top because west is where the sun disappears. Next comes early Chinese compasses were actually pointed to the south, which was considered to be more desirable than the darkest north. But in Chinese maps, the emperor who lived in the north of the country was always put at the top of the map with everyone else, his loyal subjects looking upwards. In Chinese culture, the emperor looks south because it is where the says that in Chinese culture, the emperor looks south because it is where winds come from. It is a good direction. North is not very good, but you are in a position of subjection to emperor, so you look up to him. So what they're saying is that in Chinese maps, basically, since the emperor used to stay in the north of the country, the north was at the top, and since you are a subject, you have to look at him, right? So for this reason, in the Chinese maps, north was at the top. Next, it says that given that each culture has a very different idea of who or what they should look up to, it is perhaps not surprising that there is very little consistency in which way early maps pointed out. In ancient Egyptian times, top of the world was east, the position of the sunrise. In early Islamic maps favored south at the top because most of the early Muslim cultures were north of Mecca. So they imagine looking up upwards towards it. Christian maps from the same era called Mappa Mundi put east to the top towards Garden of Eden with Jerusalem in the center. So they're saying if you take a gist of this two paragraph, the purpose of these two paragraphs, or if you can just say in 2-3 words, in Chinese culture, north was the top because the emperor used to stay there, right? The emperor used to live there. So it is for a cultural reason. And then in various other cultures, because of one reason or the other, and mostly it used to be from a religious regions, certain directions without any logical reason, they were placed at the top. For example, in Islamic culture, south was the top because most of the early cultures were north of Mecca, so they wanted to look up to it. And in Christian era, east was put at top because that's where they thought towards the Garden of Eden with Jerusalem in the center. Okay, how to improve RCs? How to improve our reading comprehension skills? Few words of summary for every paragraph in your own words. So if you'll make summary for every paragraph using your own words, basically, then you will be able to answer the questions very accurately. What happens is that if you have made summary or primary purpose of every paragraph in your own words, then you will be able to understand the questions and you'll be able to understand the options properly. because somebody else has also done it. Because when people make questions, they also make summary, they also understand, and then they create options. Second point is that solve RCs from a variety of journals. To solve RCs which are from a journals, from a variety of journals, from a variety of journals. For example, if you're good at political RCs, if you're good at finance RCs, don't just stick to them. Solve RCs from biology, solve RCs from geography, solve RCs from say the field of say branches of knowledge like history, like philosophy, something as remote as say an article about heart surgery, about robotics, about AI, about machine learning. So solving reading comprehension from which are of very different kind is really, really important. Third point is to analyze the mistakes. So you have to analyze your mistakes. You have to, in a way, put your mistakes in correct perspective and see that if you have made this sort of a particular mistake, this sort of a particular error which you're doing, why you're doing that, okay? And what steps you can take to not. So we have a system in which we will discuss how you can capture your mistakes and how you can stop doing this. So we have done that. We will be doing that. Okay, don't worry about it. Let's come to the next part of our RC. So when did everyone get together and decide that North was at the top? It is tempting to put it down to European explorers like Christopher Columbus. Just a moment. Please join this this Telegram group of ours. And so when did everyone get together and decide that North was at the top? It is tempting to put it down to European explorers like Christopher Columbus and Ferdinand Magellan, who were navigating by the North Star. But Broughton argues that these explorers didn't think of the world like that. When Columbus describes world, it is in accordance with the East being at top. Columbus says he's going towards paradise, so his mentality is from a medieval mappa mundi. We have got to remember at Spartan at the time, no one knows what they are doing and where they're going. So again the author tries to talk about, in a way that that people did not know basically where they were going, and nobody was truly aware about what is happening. So saying that Christopher Columbus or Ferdinand Magellan, they knew where they were going, they did not know. So it says that Columbus says he's going towards paradise because his mentality is also from a what are Mappa Mundi? Mappa Mundi, they are your Christian religious maps. They're basically church related maps, in which the Jerusalem was put at the center, and then whatever known continents or countries were there, they were placed around it in that way. East was placed at the top. So it is that way they have. Next comes your how to analyze. So how do you analyze the mistakes? You analyze the mistakes by, for example, let's try and solve this question first. Which of the following best describes what passage is trying to do? Which of the following best describes what the passage is trying to do? So it questions an explanation about how maps are designed. It corrects a misconception about the way maps were designed. So is the passage trying to question an explanation about how maps are designed? No. The passage was trying to sensitize us that north was never at the top, and the reasons why. Also, it said that nobody knew. Even the famous sea explorers and the sailors, they also did not know that where they were going. So in a way, it is not questioning any explanation. Let's look at C. It critiques a methodology used to create maps. Was any very one particular methodology described here, or was creation of maps in general described here? No. Also, did it critique anything? The word is used here is critique. No. Nothing of this sort happened. Did the author try and find out faults? Did the author try and ask questions around why in a certain way maps were created? No, nothing of that sort. D is, it explores some myths about maps. So did the passage anywhere mention any myths? Nowhere mentioned. Only right option is B1, because it corrects a misconception that probably maps have always been like this. The maps were not like this. Maps were not properly designed. Also, it also tells you that even giving the attributing and giving the credit of bringing not to the directions in the way today we perceive as on the maps, giving this credit to the Western explorers like Ferdinand Magellan, like Christopher Columbus. This is also not correct. Okay? It corrects a misconception about the way. So this is the right answer. Now, if you look at this, if you try and analyze, if you say that what the passage is trying to do, and if you happen to mark this is the right answer, but if you happen to mark this answer, it explores some myths about maps, right? And if you mark this answer, so what will you say? That the type of question where you went wrong is what the passage is trying to do. Okay, what the passage is trying to do is the type of question and RC here. And what are the lesson learned? Lesson learned is that you could like we did, we eliminated all the wrong options, and we try and understand the overall intent of the passage. And while we were talking, remember, we were also trying to understand the primary purpose of every paragraph, although it was a little boring, but it was very helpful. So in a similar way, if you try and analyze it, if you marked option D as an option, then you have also you can also say that you talk about you went on to mark an option where myths were never discussed, but you actually went on to mark such an option because probably you did not read, you did not understand the entire intent of the passage correctly. So this is really, really important. Let's try and solve one more question. Why early map did not put north at the top for all of the following reasons? North was source of darkness. Yeah, north was source of darkness. We have read here. It was mentioned here that north was a source of darkness. And south was favored by some emperors. No, this was nowhere mentioned. South being favored by some emperors is nowhere mentioned. What they mentioned that north, that in China emperor used to stay in north, hence the maps were hence north was at the top of the maps, but they never mentioned that south was favored by maps. This is the right answer. Let's still read the other options. South and east were more important for religious reasons for some civilizations. Yeah, east and south were important. We have read here that in certain cultures, such as Islamic culture and in Christian culture, east and south were given more importance. So that way it is correct. And east was considered to be a more positive direction. Could be because like we have said here, here also Columbus also says in Christian culture also it is there. Also, if you say here in ancient Egyptian the top of the world was east, the position of early sunrise. So yeah, east was also considered to be a positive direction. That is also. And also we know that the south was favored by some emperors. This information was nowhere mentioned, and this happens to be. So for example, if you mark D as an option, then what will be what you can write here? It was a what kind of question or RC it was? It was a question which was based on the database question. Okay. Did not read the RC. Also one can go back to the RC to refer to the data. It can be inferred from the passage that European explorers like Columbus and Magellan. So what was the information given about Columbus and Magellan? The information which we discussed here is that Columbus and Magellan, they they never knew where they were going, right? But Broughton argues that these explorers didn't think of the world like that at all. It is tempting to put it down to European explorers like Christopher Columbus and Ferdinand Magellan, who were navigating by the North Star. Then he says we've got to remember, it's Broughton, that at the time no one knows what they are doing and where they are going. So yeah, they did not know what they're doing and where they're going. It can be inferred from the passage that European explorers like Columbus and Magellan. Yeah. So what they were doing, they used early, they used eastward orientation for religious reasons. Yeah. It is said that they were using this as the right answer. Why? Because they have mentioned it here. Columbus describes the word it in accordance with east being at the top. Columbus says that he is going towards paradise, so his mentality is from the medieval metamundi. So medieval metamundi, they've also mentioned here that early Christian maps from the same era called mappamundi put east at the top towards the Garden of Eden with Jerusalem at the center. Next comes, according to the passage, early Chinese map placed north at the top. Early Chinese maps placed north at the tops because they wanted to show respect to the emperor. You read here that early Chinese compasses were actually pointed to the south, which is considered to be a more desirable than the darkest deepest south. But in Chinese maps, the emperor who lived in the north of the country was always placed at the top, with everyone else as his loyal subjects looking towards him. Basically, it is a good direction. North is not very good, but you are in a position of subjection to the emperor, so you always look up to him. That is how. They wanted to show respect to them. Chinese emperor. So look at what kind of options, funny options they form. Chinese emperor appreciated the winds from south. North was considered more desirable direction. Chinese invented maps, but it was always pointing towards south. Which one of the following about the northern? Which one of the following about the northern orientation of modern map is asserted in the passage? Which one of the following about the northern orientation of the modern maps is asserted in the passage? Northern orientation of modern maps. Okay. Did in the entire passage? Okay, the entire passage was about what? The entire passage was about that how for many years before, like current times, at least hundreds of years before the times which we're living in, North was never placed at the top. Did it ever talk about modern map making? So this here is it's a trick question, because contributory factor with respect to the modern maps, how modern maps were designed, this was nowhere ever mentioned. Never ever mentioned. It is nowhere it was. This is all these factors of contributory factor was understanding of magnetic north. The contributory factor was the role of the European explorers, always denied. Contributory factor was the influence of Christian maps. It was nowhere ever mentioned because it did not talk about modern maps. It just spoke about what historically has happened, basically. So the role of the natural. Then next question is the role of the natural phenomenon in influencing map making convention is seen. The role of the natural phenomenon in influencing map making convention. Natural phenomenon. If you come here, if you remember, we've also aligned it in a way. Say that in ancient Egyptian times, the top of the world was at east, the position of the sunrise. And here, if you see, they say that south is good because south is where the winds come from, right? But it is north which is placed at the top because of the culture reason, because of this political reason, if you can say, not culture reason, but because of the political reason, administrative reason and political reason, that since the emperor used to stay in the north, it was the maps had to be taking into account this factor, and north had to be placed at the top. Okay, so here, role of natural phenomenon in influencing map making convention is seen as clearly in the. All right, that is for now. Thank you very much. Please join the classes. Tomorrow classes will be at 7 and at 2, at least for this week. And please utilize Unacademy subscription. Please subscribe to Unacademy. There is amazing discounts there, and please utilize live classes. So with Unacademy, you get live classes, you get to interact with the educator, you get live polls and leaderboards. So you like a live chat, you can discuss, you can so tomorrow we'll be having a 7 a.m. class. The 7 a.m. class will be about odd one out, and it will be also about basically we'll talk about some amazing techniques, amazing ways to look at fun techniques to look at odd one out, and also there'll be a whole new way of doing it basically. And also you will be given an opportunity to interact with me because of the comments which leave here. And what happens in Unacademy subscription is that you get an opportunity to solve test series and analyze those test series. You will also get live doubt clearing sessions. So I've already started a plus course on the Unacademy, and you can utilize those the plus course, and you will also get an amazing ability to discuss the questions in a real time. You can also request special sessions with me, and I'll create special sessions for you on the app, which may not be possible in YouTube. We will also try and do that for you, but there are certain things which because of the certain privileges, and there's so many test series and questions papers, old question papers, and mock test series and national level rankings. That is amazing to be on Unacademy subscription. So please do that, and please use the code Saxena Live to get. Please use it.